Now, when it comes to this last week or so that we have all witnessed in hip hop, what we have all seen is going to be remembered down the road as one of the most important times in all of recent hip hop history, because with everything that went down from the release of Kendrick Lamar's new album GNX to the crash out from Drake, which resulted in multiple lawsuits aimed at Kendrick's track Not Like Us, what we really just saw in this time was round two between Drake and Kendrick in a way, because despite Kendrick moving forward from the beef and pushing the needle of his musical journey onward, and Drake trying to revise the history of what went down this summer between him and Kendrick by trying to tear down the success of arguably the greatest diss track ever released in the history of hip-hop already in Not Like Us, in the most pathetic and really anti-hip-hop way possible by filing multiple lawsuits. No matter the completely different actions these two were dominating headlines for this week, on both sides, what Kendrick and Drake did just stood on the exact same morals and ideas that define their stances and motives that they had when they were actually dropping diss tracks aimed at one another. And now, as Kendrick released an album that, despite being marginally shorter in terms of its track list than all of the most other streamed rap albums in their first week previously, it put up insane numbers despite not relying on the tricks that others like Drake used to exploit streaming algorithms year after year. And now, as GNX is an album that people are just listening to organically, and because of this, it is making a genuine and real impact with actual people and not machines and algorithms. It is now about to have the biggest sales debut of a rap album in 2024 with over 300,000 copies sold in its first week. And just really proving how this album is dominating the entire music world without any gimmicks, the record is about to have 8 of its 12 songs debut within the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100, which, if we want to talk about records, this may be even more impressive than its first week sales, because it is showing just how much dominance Kendrick Lamar is commanding, not over just rap, but the entire music industry. And so with all of the success that GNX has already seen, what's been made clear is that the people have chosen Kendrick Lamar as the undisputed and unquestioned leader of hip-hop going forward from this moment on, and as we know, Kendrick Lamar still has another and seemingly way more ambitious album on the way. And also knowing that other people who are around him and his camp have seemingly alluded to the fact that Kendrick Lamar has the next 4 years of his career planned out with new music releases and moments that are going to shift the very fabric and DNA of hip-hop culture forward and the perception of the genre as we know it. What's very clear right now is that as Kendrick Lamar has become arguably one of the biggest superstars not just in rap but all of music and entertainment right now. And at the same time, as Drake is now suing the label that they are both signed to, it is really humiliating his own name by trying to revise what happened in their beef. And in the grand picture, just because of how pathetic filing litigation over rap beef is. Drake's image has just been taken down even for his standards in this era where he is already at rock bottom to an even further all-time low, as he has shown that he is not just more delusional and bitter than ever, but that he does not respect the very fundamental nature of rap beef and competition, which as an extension shows his lack of care for hip-hop as a whole. And now with all of this, what's more clear than ever is that the shift in hip-hop is complete, and everything Kendrick Lamar set out to achieve when he came at Drake on Like That he has done. And now before we go any further, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton. And so now what Kendrick Lamar has done, as he is now seeing all-time high levels of success, is really complete his most important artistic mission ever, because in the matter of less than a year, Kendrick Lamar flipped the current state of rap on its head by not just beating Drake in their beef, and then showing to everyone that Drake is a liability to hip-hop in terms of as an art form and a culture, but also, and most importantly, when it comes to flipping the industry on his head like he has rapped about multiple times. In terms of how rap as a business can be used for labels, and so with where we are at now, with the release of GNX and the dominance of Kendrick Lamar alongside the spiral from Drake, what we can start to see is that with this beef and with the career-altering way Drake has now tried to change the outcome of what went down by coming at their label and Kendrick Lamar's diss track, is that while Drake and Kendrick Lamar were going back and forth for all of us to watch, one of the stakes of this battle that we never even realized was happening right before our own eyes was a battle within the music industry on how the hip-hop market will move forward from this moment on. And I want to be clear before I go any further into this. While there is this narrative that Drake stans are trying to push that Kendrick Lamar is the real puppet of the industry and that Drake is the victim, this is not the case at all, because just like every other artist, to be a superstar, you have to play the game that is the industry to some level. And in order to actually make real change, instead of running away from something, you have to get inside the machine to rewire it. And with Kendrick Lamar right now, this is exactly what he is doing. As after defeating Drake and showing how after an era of declining numbers in sales, because nothing had any staying power due to the nature of the culture in the hip-hop side of the industry that Drake created and used to gain the status he once held, Kendrick proved that rap wasn't the problem, but it was the artist controlling the genre who was causing it to decline, because when it comes to the actual business of rap music, going wider than the scope of the quality of the art, Kendrick Lamar has now shown executives just how lucrative making genuinely thoughtful and well-crafted rap music can be, because from Not Like Us, which has been arguably the biggest song the entire industry has seen all year, to now this GNX album, which even after a week of being released, is clocking in more daily streams than almost any other rap album has in years. Because the record is actually giving people reasons to come back to it and re-listen, as opposed to the quick consumption culture that dominated the Drake era, which made people listen to an album once, re-listen to 2 songs that blew up on social media, and then forget about the rest of the whole project, which was just so disposable. Between this shift that we are seeing Kendrick Lamar pull off right before us, and then also with him taking hip-hop to new heights with such things as the Super Bowl halftime show, which of course for an artist is really the pinnacle of where your stardom can take you. All of a sudden, what's becoming clear is that amidst all the chaos and drama that is unfolding in this moment in time, that most importantly to the future of how we consume rap music, what has happened in this entire year is that the industry let Kendrick and Drake, who they both have financial interest in, go at it. And despite how much money they have sunk into Drake over the years and how much he and his label have corrupted and diluted the industry in the past, Kendrick Lamar both outperforming him in terms of public perception, but for them in terms of sales and chart success. He really now has pulled off the ultimate chess move on Drake by now taking control of the last thing that could have saved his whole career, because while Kendrick had the will of the people behind him this whole time, now he has gotten even stronger, as he also has the executives and companies seemingly let him control the tempo of the hip-hop market in whichever way he desires. And being able to do this with the integrity Kendrick has is just absolutely unprecedented and insane. And really, seemingly no matter how much Kendrick Lamar clearly doesn't like the people he has to do business with, which again he has been very adamant about in his songs, in order to save the hip-hop market from the place it was heading with albums like For All the Dogs as the biggest thing coming out of it. They are now letting Kendrick Lamar just go wild and create the things he wants to, and the fact that Kendrick Lamar has now been able to break down this barrier, which is really historic, not just for rap, but really all of music and entertainment, because in this era we are living in, massive entertainment conglomerates and entities keep seeming to side with and promote people like Drake, who do the least creatively and just try to exploit the most out of the market. This success that he has in this role can end up changing the entire entertainment industry for the better, because this could mark the end, or at least some sort of a turning point in this chapter where creative mediums are ran by people who prioritize the business over the art of it all. And with what Kendrick has the power to do and already is exceeding it, I mean, these are really the types of things that are able to start renaissances within art forms, because if labels just trust music that they don't understand but people resonate with, and just let creatives be creatives in terms of making the music that they want, and just push the genre forward on their own terms, well then we really may start to see hip-hop shift into a place where we see the best years we have in decades. And now with Kendrick Lamar seemingly having these next 4 years of his career already planned out, as from his next and more ambitious album, his Super Bowl halftime performance, to his movie with the South Park creator, to so much more which people have hinted he has in the works, overall we really have the chance to see something so great go down. And now at this point, as Kendrick Lamar has turned the very machine that made Drake against him, which seriously, the more we find out about this situation and how this all happened, I'm really sure this is going to blow people's minds because it is absolutely surreal. It's clear that Drake's career is really over and there is nothing he can do to get anywhere near back to the place he was, because really with all of Kendrick's genius moves, he has pushed Drake out of the room he was once at the center at, which is now allowing him to save the creative direction of rap music from a higher up standpoint. And in the process, he has removed the guy who was just doing anything with these labels to exploit listeners instead of actually providing them with valuable and powerful music. So overall, as we continue to see how Kendrick Lamar continues to gain more and more control of the music industry while also seeing Drake just spiral out further and further, it's clear that we are really seeing the shift Kendrick Lamar promised would go down right in real time. And at the rate we are at, and with how ambitious everything Kendrick is already doing is, who knows just how far he's gonna go with all of this and how different rap and the music industry can look just a few months from now. And so now with all this said, let me know, what do you think about how Kendrick Lamar's success and master moves against Drake in competition have now caused him to turn both the public opinion and companies' initiatives against Drake? And where do you think this all goes from here? This is really a pivotal time in hip-hop history, and we are about to witness so much change in the coming weeks, and it's really going to be interesting to see where Kendrick Lamar goes from here and where Drake ends up after this point. Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and if you made it this far in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And now, if you want to see how with Drake's recent lawsuits, how they are going to make what Kendrick Lamar has already done to him and his downfall even worse, check out the suggested video.